Hello, freelancers, and welcome to Arcanist Radio. My name's WizzyWizzard, and today I'm here with my good friend Randy as well.
So basically, I just wanted to quickly go over what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a full podcast just about Anthem. Maybe later on we're going to start throwing in some other games and stuff like that. But for right now, we're just going to basically be talking about Anthem. So basically, I just, wanted to throw out we do have a Discord server right now because we know that the guilds are going to be coming into the game later on. So we have a Discord called Cypher's Fury. We're going to put it in the description and everything for everybody to be able to take a look at. So if you are interested in that, just let me know. I can always send you an invite, or you can just accept the one that's in our in the description. So without further ado, we're just going to start with talking kind of about the demo or impression and stuff like that. So first thing, obviously, is just going to be basic first impression. So I'm just going to ask Randy. So what was the first thing that you thought when you jumped into the actual world itself?
Alright, so once I got past Fort Tarsus and actually got into the javelins, flying was amazing. I can't think of any game where it's been done so well. I think that's probably the standout thing that this game offers. And beautiful game world. Even on a standard PS4, amazing graphics.
I can agree with that because I'm on the standard PS4 too, and I mean, the second I jumped in, the first thing I realized obviously was the flying, but like the verticality and like the depth of the map. So like it never felt like I always felt like I was missing things. Like I always felt like, well, maybe there's a way to get into this place up top because there
Yeah.
was a dungeon or something. There was one dungeon, I think it was the Necropolis. It was actually up on the top of the mountain, so you had to, fly up there and stuff. But the direction wasn't told on the map a little bit, but it made it almost like a mystery. Like you didn't know what you were going to run into next because you could go underwater, you could do all that stuff. So that's, I had like kind of the same input when it came to that kind of stuff. But the other thing was, like you mentioned before, so what did you think about Fort Tarsus when you first got in there?
I like the idea of Fort Tarsus. I think it's a good idea from a story standpoint, maybe, to really show off that it's about the story, not the fast action gameplay.
Right.
But it does feel a little disjointed from the regular game. Some of that could have been the slow movement style, which they are working on, and some of it might just maybe after a couple missions you get used to it.
Right. I did read somewhere that they, in the other events that they had with older builds, like there was an event that EA Game Changers did in Japan, and I don't know if you've heard of Dantix, but he does
Yep.
a lot of videos. Dantix does a lot of the videos, and he actually mentioned that they were able to move faster in Fort Tarsus, but then it was confirmed on Twitter, I think by Ben Irving, that you're gonna be able to sprint through Fort Tarsus.
Okay,
But
good.
I mean, if it wasn't so big, I wouldn't have had an issue with it. But like, there was a lot of stuff around there that a lot of people didn't even get to experience, and like, because they just didn't want to spend the time to walk around and find things. So, I mean, obviously, I went around and spent the time to talk to the different people and stuff and get the conversations, and they were interesting conversations. I mean, you learned a lot about, just those specific characters, even if they weren't super important. But a lot of people didn't get to do that because Fort Tarsus was such a grind to just, no one wanted to spawn where they spawn. They just wanted to spawn right next to their javelin, which I
Yeah, yep.
understand why they spawned them away from it because they wanted them to walk through and see what it was. But at the same time, it was kind of a tedious like walk all the way to the forge and your javelin. It was pretty annoying at certain times. But so we'll go away from that. So we're gonna more stop at the favorites things that we've experienced in the game so far. So Randy, you can go first.
All right. So, like I said, the flying, like you said, the mobility that it offers just in verticality for exploration, and
Right.
furthermore for combat. I think that adds, a lot more options in terms of tactics. You can fly over enemies, behind them, flank them. I think that that's something that's kind of lacking from a lot of games right now, and I think it puts Anthem in a good place.
Right. I definitely agree with that. So I more looked at it as like, what was my like favorite javelin, my favorite ability, like weapons, missions, stuff like that. So like with my favorite javelin, it's definitely the storm. I'm more of a glass cannon kind of guy. I don't like being
Yep.
like in the thick of things. I like being able to do AoE damage. I like the elemental stuff and whatnot. And I loved playing with the storm. I mean, that was literally I've never played with something like that. I mean, I was literally throwing fireballs at people like baseballs. Like I was literally just hucking fireballs at people and then throwing ice. And that's so cool. It felt great. I felt like I never even had to use my weapons, which was cool. So like I feel like it adds that extra gameplay aspect to it when you do run out of ammo and then you're like, what do I do now? In this, you have all your abilities, so there's really no excuse for you to, have to run in there, grab ammo, stuff like that. Maybe if you're Colossus or an Interceptor or whatnot. But
Well, I play Colossus, and even to your point, I think it is an abilities first kind of game. And as far as the Colossus goes, like the flamethrower is incredible. I wasn't loving the Colossus as much till I got the flamethrower, but once I got that, just lighting things on fire all day long and combos.
and I just want to make this disclosure. So with the demo, we didn't get anywhere close to the whole entire like spectrum of abilities that we could have gotten. So there's a ton more. I mean, I've seen some more that were on some of the videos and stuff, and I mean, they're just going to keep adding them. They're going to keep adding more javelins and all that stuff too. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention was obviously everyone loved the Devastator because that was just like that explosive charge up sniper, which they're nerfing. He said Ben Irving said they were going to nerf it. But one weapon that I absolutely loved was the Guardian. It was the 3-round burst marksman rifle, and it just felt so good. It did a lot of damage. I don't know if it's just I like the burst weapons or whatnot, but it was definitely a fun game or a fun thing to do. So so the next topic we're gonna do is just like issues that we had. I'll start with this one. I'm gonna stay away from bugs and glitches and stuff like that. For some reason, when I was in free play, I just didn't feel like the world was like as alive as they made it seem like in a lot of the gameplay demos. Like you remember in 2017, and I know this is an E3 gameplay demo, but when they were running toward that Shaper Storm Cataclysm thing, there was animals like stampedes of animals. There was a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of wind, trees were blowing over and stuff. And like their weather and stuff was really cool. They did a really good job on it, but at the same time it didn't have that same like dramatic effect that I thought it would. And then the animals didn't really seem like they were doing much. It was like almost like they were patrolling around certain areas instead of like what an animal would do. It graze, get into fights with other animals. Like I didn't see any interaction from the different creatures and stuff, which would have been nice to see. Like I saw a bunch of brutes walking by, a bunch of grabbits. Like I would expect a bunch of brutes to just attack the grabbits to try to eat them, but they were like kind of just avoiding each other, and it just seemed a little weird. So, but yeah, what do you think? Oh, actually, one other point that I wanted to make quick: waypoint. We need a waypoint on the map. There's literally no other way to say this. How am I supposed to tell people where to go? Like if I was playing, I was playing with you at one point. You guys were literally, I mean, far as heck away from me, and I literally had no idea how to explain to you how to get back to me. So that was my other big thing. But they did say it's not coming at launch, but they're definitely going to add it at some point.
It would be a solid quality of life improvement for sure.
I definitely
Now,
agree with that.
to your point, I don't know how much of that is maybe because it was a beta/demo. I mean, maybe, it'll be a little more solid and full of things, and this was just kind of a tiny slice.
Right.
I definitely had the same concern. Most of my concerns come from the loot system. I think it's too early to tell how interesting or fun getting the loot is going to be. Like, I got some solid things, but, adding a couple more affixes to things, I don't know how much that's really going to do to drive me to go run whatever event. I do know with some of the masterworks I saw, it looks like there are unique properties that maybe, are separate from that. And then just, I understand the reason for not giving you the loot to the end, but my concern is if you lose connection or something happens that stops you from finishing, then your time investment is not rewarded if you just don't get your loot. So some sort of mailbox system or something like that where it keeps track, that.
So I was in the same boat because, see, in the demo, that's what happened. You would disconnect a lot, unfortunately, in the demo. So you would have to like jump into a free play game or something like that, jump back out, and then immediately you'd get all your stuff. So in the demo, they had it fixed, or not fixed, but they had a solution for it, which it just wasn't the greatest solution, but it worked. But the other thing I was thinking about with like the weapon system and stuff, not even like the fact that you can get them immediately, because I'm the kind of person that I don't want to be sitting there waiting for someone to like reset their whole loadout because they found a new weapon or something. But like
Yeah.
in the Destiny aspect, Destiny did it minus like having to like giving you the weapons right there. Destiny told you what you got as soon as you picked it up. It said it on the bottom right. Everyone could see what you got, what it was. That's what you need, because if you see that, I mean, you're looking at it and you're like, "Oh, I got that." But in the other situation, find something that you did like, you might be more inclined to leave and put it
Yeah.
on and come
Yeah.
back. But at the same time, they're gonna end up doing, they're gonna penalize people for leaving early and stuff. But I mean, right now, I understand why they did what they did. It's definitely covering all their bases. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with the
you know,
design
but
choice.
I
Now,
agree with you.
when you were going through, do we actually pick up the loot drops, or are they kind of set aside and then given to us at the end? Because that's my concern. If we pick it up, we have it. Something happens, it's still there.
Yeah. From what
If
I
it's
understood,
just set
that's
on
what it
the side.
was.
Oh, so we do actually
Yeah.
have the loot drop.
Right, because what we would do, and from what I understood, the only reason that we would run into free play and then exit really quick is because that was the only way that you could do something without really screwing up someone's mission. Like if you jump into a stronghold and leave, I'm guessing you probably would have got the same loot. It's just you're ditching 3 people in a stronghold, and it's just,
Okay.
you don't
All
want to
right.
be like that. So a lot
No.
of people would just jump into free play and leave just so I'm guessing the loot sticks to the character, and you just whatever mission you complete next at the end, you'll get all of that. The
Okay.
XP though, I don't know about the XP.
I
'Cause,
stopped gaining XP at a point. I don't know. I think that was
yeah,
maybe just a demo issue.
it was
Like
the
before
at
hitting 15.
15. Oh, before 15,
Before
I'm not
I
sure.
couldn't get to 15. I was at 14 and a quarter, and it just stopped
Yeah,
giving me XP.
it was weird. They had definitely a lot of bugs, but
Yeah.
hopefully we'll find out on the 15th, because that's when
Yeah.
PC players get early access. So PC players get for Origin get a week early access. So we'll find out, how it's
Yeah.
doing. I'm glad they're putting it out a week early and we don't have to be the guinea pigs to it,
I thought that myself.
You
And
know,
my
I'm
hope,
actually glad that I'm getting it on the 27th, because that's a week of bug fixes and stuff like that that probably wouldn't have happened in the first place if it wasn't
yeah.
coming out a week early. All right. So the last thing that I kind of wanted to go over was just our final thoughts on, the demo and just like the game in general. So I'll give you this first question. So, did this game meet your expectations, plain and simple?
Absolutely. Yep. It was actually a little bit better than I was expecting.
Okay. I mean, I said the same thing. I said plainly yes. It left me wanting more. I mean, I kept wanting to play. I mean, I played that demo. I was in the private demo before the open demo, and I mean, I spent that whole weekend playing, and I couldn't
Yeah.
even wait to play the same exact thing the next weekend. It was great. I mean, I had a ton of fun. So the next thing was just obviously what you were looking most forward to. So I'll start with that one. So I'm most looking forward to obviously the story, because I'm that lore nerd and I do all
Yeah.
my lore videos and stuff like that. But I really am interested in this Heart of Rage thing and just how this all works into the story. And I know some people haven't seen these videos, but like the Heart of Rage is a cataclysm that was started. It was a relic that was hidden in a base for like freelancers and sentinels and stuff like that. They were keeping it under the base. The Dominion came in, they activated the relic, and then the relic just exploded. So the Monitor and Dr. Harkin, who is an evil scientist for the Dominion, haven't been seen since that day. But we know the Monitor's alive because he's narrated plenty of our stories and he's done that. So my question is, what did the explosion of the Heart of Rage do to the Monitor if he somehow survived? And how could we even stop the Heart of Rage? And I'm also wondering too, so they talked about Shaper Storms a lot in the beginning, but they haven't talked about the Shaper Storms at all since then. Everything's been cataclysms, 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 which Shaper Storm is technically a cataclysm, but I'm just wondering, the cataclysm is the way they explained it is like with the Heart of Rage is a cataclysm. It's relic exploding, whatever. but the Shaper Storm isn't really technically it's not a relic explode. It's a storm up in the sky. So I'm wondering, like, it's like radiation almost, like coming out of these explosions from the relics that are giving, this storm a way to form and throw creatures at it. So that was just my thing. I thought that was a lot, but story just keeping me, glued into this. So I'll just ask you again. So what are you most looking forward to?
Well, like you said with story, I mean, I feel like BioWare has way more positive steps than negative. So I feel like if they have their signature magic in there, we're in for a really good story. I think doing it in this type of game, as opposed to the way they've done previously, there's more potential to create an ongoing narrative, and they can really create something special. And just their aspirational content. The fact that they are going ahead and showing us this is what we planned, this is what we have planned. On the one hand, people can feel like, oh, we're not giving this a full game, but that's not a realistic expectation. You finish the game, it goes cold, and then you add more to it. I feel like showing us in advance this is what we're going to add, having a solid plan, helps them, not make some of the missteps other games as a service have done. And I think it puts them in a good position, not only coming out first doing something like this, they can learn from other people's mistakes and maybe really capitalize.
I just like the fact that they're doing the live service, but they're not charging us any. So we're paying that basic $60 and that's it. I mean, I'm not trying to throw Bungie or anybody under the bus, but like, how much money have we spent on Destiny over the years, DLCs and new games? I mean, I can't even. I mean, probably somewhere over like almost $300. In all honesty, and we're paying for this annual pass for Destiny right now, and you're getting less content probably than you're gonna get in these free DLCs for Anthem. And I mean, sometimes people can say, oh, the free updates are holdovers from what was supposed to be in the regular game, but do we really care at this point? We're all gonna get it. It's not, I think the model that they've done, they're trying to. This is the first time I've seen a model like this in a non-free-to-play game. So we'll see how it all goes. I mean, only time's gonna be able to tell. All right, so last question I really wanted to get into, and I say this has to be like 100% honesty. I know we both love this game, so I get that. Rating on a scale of 1 to 10, 100% honesty with all the info that's been presented to us, demo, anything.
Alright, you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first. You go first.
Alright. Honestly, right now, I would give it an 8. Not looking at, any of the bugs and whatnot, just looking at the game. It's got solid bones. It's a really good foundation. I think they could really do something special with the story. And from what they have lined up, I think it has the potential either to be a game that you play for a couple weeks, that's amazing, or if it really hits its stride, something that you play for a year or more, or however long they support it. I'm 100% behind it. They've got my money.
I said the same thing. So originally I did say 8, but the other day I read something and I decided I was going to go for a 9. So I read when they asked, are you going to add PvP? And they said, no. We're not adding it on launch. We're not adding it for a while because we want to focus on the story. And I was like, that's it. That's all I needed to hear, because honestly, I think PvP ruins so many good games. I think Destiny would be such a better game without PvP, because now everything's going to be balanced. All these weapons have to basically be the same things, and it's like, it's not fun because you're basically playing with the same weapons just with different skins on them. This is way different. The supers are completely different. The abilities are completely different. Their damages are completely different. The different components you could put on things. Like, there was one component where it like added like almost 250% more damage to like one of your abilities. You can't do that in PvP stuff because there's ways to like, cheese things and whatnot. So when they said that, I immediately said a 9. I mean, I honestly probably, after the games comes out, it's going to be a little bit different and stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a reason that it would go down from 9. I could think of reasons it would go up, but I truly think of a reason it'd go down unless literally it was like a catastrophic meltdown on launch, which after the demo, I really can't see that happening.
Yeah.
So, all right. So with that, that's basically everything that we had for today's podcast. Just talking about, the first impressions and everything, like I said. So at the end of every podcast, because I'm the lore nerd that I am, I really would like to, read a codex, like a cool codex story that I found in the game. So first we'll start with it's called the Double Cross. So freelancer Galen Blewett had grown so disgusted by society's treatment of criminals that he chose to live in the wild. He provided protection and supplies for those who've been cast out of the wall with nothing, and robbed as many striders as he once saved. He was notorious for holding people ransom, and during a hostage exchange in 389, he was shot in the back by his best friend, Billy Goodboy Nataro, who wanted to collect the reward on Blewett's capture. So you can even see in this game, in the story, they have all these little stories like in these codex stuff. They may not really loop into the main story, but they're just cool little things that you can make the world feel alive. Like if I'm flying through certain areas and I'm like, hey, that's where this happened. That's where this happened. Like, that's just cool. It fleshes out the world. It makes it feel like there is history in the world, and it's not like you're this super amazing like god that does everything and is creating the history. Like, there's history before you, and there are people before you, and you're almost like learning from that history. And it's like a lived-in world, and I really, really like what they did so far with the codex and whatnot. I can't wait to see what they're going to come out with next. So then with that, was there anything that you wanted to add before we signed off?
I mean, from what I played, the game is going to be a blast, much like you. I can't wait for the 22nd.
So obviously you mentioned too on the 22nd when we're going to play. I'll talk about it farther on, but I'm probably going to be streaming on YouTube when the full game comes out, and obviously I'll have Randy playing with me and stuff. You'll be able to hear him, ask any questions, stuff like that. So so with that being said, that's going to be all for the podcast. Definitely tune in. We're going to do this maybe a couple times a week. Sometimes it'll be just like one day a week. Obviously it's a little slow right now because the full game hasn't released, but next week, or the next episode is actually going to be my specialty. It's going to be about the story. So definitely tune in for that. I'm definitely going to mention the Discord again, Cypher's Fury. It's going to be in the description. If you have any questions, just let me know. And then other than that, I think that was all that I had here. But yeah, thank you for listening to Arcanist Radio. And this is Randy. Always remember, stay frosty, freelancers.